Hello and welcome to the Diamond Report for Friday, January the 13th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. This is the first show in what I hope will be a series. We'll just have to see how it goes and how well received it is or not. And I don't want to waste anyone's time, including my own. So if I do a few of these shows and we're not really getting very many viewers, I might call it quits. It just kind of depends. This is more of a test run for me. One of my goals with this show is to keep it as concise as possible. I want to keep them short so that people will hopefully listen to them and share them with their friends, and that we won't waste people's time. That's the main thing. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to take too much time to cover the important issues of the day. So getting right into it, let's take a look at some of the headlines from today. If we're friends on Facebook, you can see the posts that I've made today, and there's a number of them. I do quite a few each day, as you probably know and have noticed. I thought I would include a couple of other articles just that I have noticed and that I have kind of taken a look at already and didn't actually do a post on. So we'll save those for the video. So here's one of the articles that I came across today that I did not post on my Facebook page that I thought was kind of interesting, but it kind of dovetails into the whole transhumanist movement. In just 5 years from now, IBM says we'll have Superman vision. Let me read this short little blurb. There's a full article on Mashable, but it says, for the past few years, IBM has gathered its best and brightest minds to make fivefold predictions about the technological innovations that could change our everyday lives within the next 5 years. The series, fittingly named 5 in 5, gives experts a chance to both outline the current state of research and innovation surrounding a topic and set a roadmap for its future development and applications. This year, the underlying theme of the series is making the invisible visible, focusing on advanced perception and increased awareness of the world around us. Of the 5 predictions, there's one standout that really catches the eye. IBM believes that hyper-imaging and AI, artificial intelligence, will give us superhero vision. Now, I would like to point out that IBM does believe that's possible. I believe it's possible too. I do think that it's part of the transhumanist agenda, and that this particular type of thing will only be available to the elites. They brand it that it will be available to all of mankind, to everyone, but that's not really true. It's really going to be for the people who can afford it, for the technocrats, for the people at the highest levels of government and beyond, that they are the people that are going to have the superpowers, if you want to call them that. Not the average person. We are meant to be kept in our place, and the people that run the show are the people that will have these sorts of powers. Okay, our next article is by a guy named Peter Diamandis, and he thinks that we're evolving toward meta-intelligence. I thought this article was kind of interesting. It says, from natural selection to intelligent direction. And I can post a link for this article if anybody cares to read it. But just a quick synopsis. He says, I believe we're rapidly heading towards a human-scale transformation, the next evolutionary step into what I call meta-intelligence, a future in which we are all highly connected, brain to brain, via the cloud, sharing thoughts, knowledge, and actions. So he's talking about transhumanism. In the next 30 years, humanity will move from the first stage where we are today to the fourth stage. From simple humans dependent on one another, humanity will incorporate technology into our bodies to allow for more efficient use of information and energy. This is already happening today. This sort of embodies the whole technocrat idea and the information, kind of blending the information age with technocracy plus transhumanism. all into one place. They're trying to move us more and more toward humanism, transhumanism, instead of being dependent on each other. Humanity's bad, robotics and artificial intelligence is good. That's what they're trying to say. Enabled with BCI, BCI means brain-computer interface, and artificial intelligence, humans will become massively connected with each other in billions of AIs, computers, via the cloud, analogous to the first multicellular life form 1.5 billion years ago, which I personally don't believe in evolution. I think the whole thing was a bogus idea anyway. I believe in evolution of certain things and certain life forms, but not humans. Such a massive interconnection will lead to the emergence of a new global consciousness in a new organism I call meta-intelligence. So that's his name for it. And it goes on here about, talks about fourth and final stage marks humanity's evolution becoming a multi-planetary species, our journey to the moon, Mars, asteroids, and beyond, and so forth. So, again, it's this whole idea of the human organism and man created in God's image is not good enough. And it takes man to improve upon himself to make it better. So that's the humanist point of view, and that is for sure where the elites are and where they're headed. Ray Kurzweil is quoted in this article a couple times. He's certainly up there as far as in the ranks of transhumanists. And just to finish up the final thoughts on transhumanism, I would highly recommend this film called Inhuman by Tom Horn. And you can get it at the Skywatch TV store. Just go to skywatchtvstore.com and put in Inhuman, and you'll, right here in the search blank, and it'll come up. I would definitely recommend that if you are interested in the whole transhumanist idea. I should also mention that as I'm doing these updates, you probably hear some loud rumbling and some bells tolling. That is not For Whom the Bell Tolls. That is my Earthquake 3D software. I have it running in the background here. And when an earthquake happens, you'll hear that noise. So that's what that is. If you follow Dutch Sense at all on YouTube, you've seen this before undoubtedly. This is the Earthquake 3D software. And it's very good at showing where current earthquakes are, and you can adjust your amount of time as far as how recent or how old the earthquakes are. That right there is 1 week, so that's just 7 days old worldwide. So we're looking at 232 combined quakes, and that's the USGS feed along with the European Bureau as well. So anyway, that's what that is. And I also like to look at the Volcano Discovery website, volcanodiscovery.com. If you go to the website and click on news, you get this page, and then just click on Volcano News and Updates. And this shows you, as you scroll down, there's one right there. As you scroll down, this shows you the current volcanic activity and what volcanoes around the globe are erupting right now. So we are 1 week out from Inauguration Day. It's supposed to happen a week from today on the 20th of January, and we'll see. I'm not entirely convinced that's going to happen for a variety of different reasons. I do think that Obama and the CIA have some other plans for Trump, so we'll see. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully he will be inaugurated. But I think it's entirely possible that they could put the brakes on the whole thing and Obama could stay in power. It's very possible. It's far-fetched, I admit that, but it is very possible. I came across this article last night, actually. This is a Daily Crow article, but I do like what he says here. Matt, the guy that runs it, where he's talking about he voted for Trump. He says, this has nothing to do with Trump love or Trump hate. If you must know, I have a personal affinity for Trump, and I voted for him. He was elected because God raises up kings and deposes them. Only a fool places their faith in another individual. He could be a great president, or he could be a disaster. Nothing about how he performs changes God's sovereign timetable. I think that's super important, because I feel like most people out there that are anti-Trump think the people that are pro-Trump love him to the point of worship. And some people do, but people like myself don't. The choice that we had in this last election cycle between him and Hillary was a slam dunk. I mean, we know what we're going to get with Hillary. Trump, at least, we have a chance to get back to what this country was truly based on, and that's freedom and liberty. Also, while I'm thinking about it, my friend Sharon tagged me in this post about a well-known pastor gets 3 alarming visits from government agents, which was the NSA, and it was a pastor that many of you probably know, Paul Begley. And I would definitely suggest watching this interview. It's not real long, but he covers some things as far as his visits that he and his wife had from the NSA, from an agent from the NSA, and it's pretty revealing. And many of you know I was in a near fatal car accident back in April of 2016, and I'm still recovering from it. Actually, I'm about 90+% back to where I want to be, but I'm not quite there. And it's interesting that one of the things Paul Begley mentioned in this interview right here is that's one of the things that they do, car accidents. That's just one of their modus operandi. And the NSA guy told Paul that. And then Paul's not there, I don't know, within just a few days of that conversation, not long thereafter, I should say, Paul had his own accident. Luckily, he wasn't hurt. But it was interesting that it happened right after that, and then the NSA guy came back and said, yeah, that was us, basically. So I'm not saying that's what it was in my case. I think there were some other factors at play. But you can't rule that out. I'm involved in a lot of different things, and I could see where getting rid of someone like me might be beneficial, or at least sending me a warning, a shot across the bow, so to speak. And if you've heard any interviews that I have done in the past with Dr. Rima Labo and General Burt and Richard Sachs from Lost Arts Radio, I talked about what happened. I'm not going to get into that again right here, but it is interesting that Paul Begley brought that up as well. And I experienced it myself, so I do know what he's talking about. And lastly, before I go, speaking of Richard Sachs and Lost Arts Radio, I would like to invite everybody to come listen to our Sunday show. We have 2 shows, Saturday mornings and Sunday nights. And the Saturday morning show is a live call-in show that we do every Saturday morning. It's at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's Saturday mornings. And our Sunday night show this week will be a really interesting one. It's further discussion on vaccines and the joke about them being safe and effective with Michelle Rowton and Dr. Stoller. So please tune in for that. That's Sunday night. You can get more information on our website, and that is lostartsradio.com. Well, thanks for listening. I'm going to wrap this up. I know we're running about 15 minutes or so. I don't want to bore anybody too much here, but I'd just like to remind you that I'm on Facebook. You can also find me on Seen.Life. I have a profile on there, and everything I post on Facebook pretty much goes on Seen.Life as far as the articles and stuff. And then I'm also over on Gab, which is kind of the new version of Twitter. And I post, probably 99% of what I post on Facebook also goes on Gab, and I do this sort of in triplicate so that if and when my Facebook page goes down, I'm not totally silenced. So, and this is the good quote that they gave me automatically on Gab. All censorship exists to prevent anyone from challenging current conceptions in existing institutions, by George Bernard Shaw. Anyway, thanks again for listening and watching, and I will see you again very soon.